Keeps on giving.
Spicy Tim, episode 40.
Wow. You're listening to the 40th podcast anniversary special edition of Fresh Floppies.
And I mean, we're not alone. I want to mic you.
Tim,
I hear you.
You have to talk into the microphone, you piece of shit.
I guess I'm here. I don't know. Am I here?
This was a mistake. What's up to all our sidekicks and henchfolk out there in the Geek Nation? You're currently tuning into Fresh Floppies, which is a weekly show that Noel and I do on Wednesday mornings when most of the new books come out.
Because it's 2 days.
That's right. Tuesdays and Wednesdays. But they're going to be spoiler free. So you know what? Just sit back, relax, drink your coffee, and then you'll be able to walk into a comic shop well armed for what to buy or not buy.
That was the sound of coffee.
I hope so.
Pouring it.
But also with us this week is our
with
good
us
friend Tim.
Tim of?
What's your store name, Tim?
The Human Race.
Tim Humanity is here with us.
Tim Humanity. I have sometimes been referred to as Tim from last week, but I also own Comic Zen, comic shop in Lansdale, Pennsylvania.
An excellent comic shop in Lansdale, Pennsylvania.
Oh, thanks,
if you are
man.
in the area, visit. You stupid people.
Visitors are good.
Hey, Tim.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the first book on our docket, which is Ultimate Black Panther #1 by Brian Hill and Stefano Caselli. Tim, did you read Ultimate Spider-Man #1?
You mean the 2 weeks ago?
2024.
No, I did not. Yes.
Not the year 2000.
There's a lot of Ultimate Spider-Man #1s now.
Shit, you're right.
No, I did not.
Okay.
Ooh. What do you know about it?
It's a comic book that came out a couple of weeks
How dare
ago,
you.
and it sold
How dare
out
you.
the day it came out.
It did.
And my copies were slightly damaged, and I didn't get replacements. But it's fine. It's fine.
Okay.
Oh my God.
I'm not bitter about that at all.
Well,
You should be bitter about it because that's like the hottest book.
I was lying. I mean, I was lying a little bit.
You should be bitter. I feel like I should hear your bitterness in your voice.
Noel and I loved it.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so now it's this very next follow-up is Ultimate Black Panther by Hill and Caselli. And Noel, what did you think of this book?
I liked this a lot. Off mic, we were having a conversation about what makes ultimate, like our preconceived notions into this modifier that's been tossed on comic books for, at least from our perspective, the last 25 years almost. Mm-hmm. Is it it's just a really good Black Panther story.
Yes.
Without the necessity of previous continuity understanding.
Yeah.
Like they do their best to set up everything. Young versions of the characters. Some of the relationships are completely different. Some of the dynamics are completely different. But there's no point in here where I think or feel like, that's not T'Challa. Mm-hmm. Like it's all very good Black Panther. It's good Black Panther.
That's where I came in. I walked in today being like, that was a really solid Black Panther book. I don't know if it feels like an ultimate, like if it deserves the moniker of Ultimate Black Panther. It doesn't feel different enough for me to be an ultimate book. It just feels like, oh, here's Black Panther and the relationships are slightly different. But I loved the issue.
Yeah, and I pushed back on that feeling of it's not ultimate enough. And I was like, well, what is ultimate? Mm-hmm. Like, no previous information is required, and go. Basically, like, yeah.
I mean, that should be every issue #1, not just Ultimate.
Well, and
right?
I think that's the piece that worked is you didn't need anything coming in.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't even feel like I needed the concept of Ultimate to get this book. My first thought was, wow, that's a really great what if series, and to a certain extent, that's what the whole Ultimate Universe was this other place where it was just a what if, but it was a concise, connected what if. Mm-hmm. And at no point did I look at these characters or the situations and go, that can't possibly happen. It absolutely can, because this is what we created here. And, the fact that there's possibly a connection to another currently talked about, I'll say character, but character's not 100% right in the Marvel Universe. Well, that sort of makes sense, too, because of geographical stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
But, like, I read this and went, yeah, okay, all right.
Yeah, like a solid A minus B plus. Like this was just a strong first issue of a comic book.
Absolutely. I actually like this better than the previous Black Panther #1.
Exactly.
Oh,
that
that
was
me
just
too.
about to
Like,
say.
The E
months
viewing and
Yeah.
that was
Which is a shame
that
because
book.
I wanted to love that.
Same.
Yeah, but that book felt like I needed to read the last 3 runs.
Right.
Like it was so steeped in
Yeah.
the
The
continuity
weeds.
of the
Yeah.
book. Some of the things I want to mention there is a couple of very important threads from Ultimate Universe and
Yes.
Ultimate Invasion. Basically the antagonists of this story.
Mm-hmm.
Is it important to know exactly what they are? No. Is it cool? Yeah.
I mean, I was curious about what they are, but I didn't feel like I was missing out by not knowing. I felt like this was an introduction of a bad that
Yeah.
I just didn't know, and we didn't know yet, which is fine.
And they're doing the intro. Did you read the intro?
Yeah.
The little infographic. It's not
Which
an
I felt
infographic.
like gave me all I needed to know.
Basically,
not
like-
having finished Ultimate Invasion.
This cabal of villains, they're still kind of functioning, and these are the guys that are, kind of trying to make East Africa bend. That's it.
Make what?
East Africa bend.
Bend.
They're trying
Like
to
an
take it
elbow.
over.
Bend. Oh, I've never
Bend.
heard that phrase before.
Bend to our
Oh,
whim.
bend. Oh, bend like
Yeah.
unbended knee. I see.
Basically.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Bend. Yes.
They're 2 god avatars. I kind of
Yeah.
figured that was the right word for it.
No, that's great. Yeah.
So
Hey, what did you think of this costume? With this tiny little mouth hole?
it's in the comic for 2 panels. No. I know it's on the cover, but I'm saying like,
But also it's his costume, right?
yeah, but
Do you like his mouth? Do you want to see his mouth in a tiny little mouth hole is my question.
I'm not against it, but I have more problems with the huge silver like knocks in it, like on his feet and stuff. I get the like panther claws; it's kind of cool. I just don't really like the. I'm more bothered by like the giant accoutrement because I love his sleek versions of his costume. These just look like chonky bits.
Yeah.
She's got big chunky bits. It's over designed.
The mouth doesn't bother me.
Yeah, I think it over designed is the answer. You're right. A panther costume should be sleek, and when it's worked really well, it has been.
Do you remember? Actually, you don't have to remember it because it's right on the shelf. Remember Daredevil Black Armor? Remember that black armor he had in the 90s?
Yes.
Where he was like, I'm only Daredevil. Matt Murdock's dead. I'm going to wear this ridiculous costume. It feels a little bit like that Black Armor Daredevil costume. But, to be fair, a lot of the Black Panther's appearances since Kirby created him has been just a black bodysuit.
Yep.
So, like, I think if you're going to redesign a costume, you kind of have to go a little bit more ornate. So I don't fault it, like
That way.
You say like a
of it.
scale of 1 to New 52. You want to go full collars, lots of lines.
Yes, this is New 52 Black Panther.
No, I got a bugaboo about a thorn in my paw about costumes right now, especially like all the conversations that are happening on Twitter about costumes. Yeah. So I'm going to try and stay as consistent as humanly possible and say I will fully judge my thoughts on this costume after I see it in context of the story, because there may be story reasons as to why it's super ornate, and maybe that'll be taken care of.
Cool.
Yeah.
But all that said, I would say pretty dang floppy. I always do that.
Pretty darn floppy.
Yeah, pretty darn floppy. Fresh.
Just
pretty darn
like
fresh.
me.
Hey, really quick presentation. I am
That's
digging. I kind of dig the banner moniker that they're doing for all the Ultimate books.
Yes.
I'm content with that. That's
Yeah.
as a retailer, there's going to be a handful of people that catches their eye, and I'm good with that.
Also, too, connective tissue of like all of
kinda
everything
go
with
together.
the side scroll banner. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I dig
Yeah,
that.
I agree. All right.
What's next?
I'll tell you.
Oh,
Batman.
Batman.
The Batman. Batman number 142. This is the beginning of the Joker Year 1, Part 1, by Chip Zdarsky and Giuseppe Camuncoli. I have not been reading I have not cared about the Chip Zdarsky run on Batman. It's been a little silly. Has anyone here been reading it?
No.
I jump on and off all the
Okay.
time. I read the whole first arc, Failsafe, and I didn't love it when I was reading it, but every time I think about it, I'm like, that's kind of cool. Mm-hmm. The whole like cyborg built by Zurin R to be the ultimate villain of Batman. I'm like, this is cool.
Yeah.
But then every time I've sampled it after that, it just feels like like junk food, but not like nice, sweet, salty junk food. Just like my stomach hurts junk food.
Yeah.
Like I eat it and I like eating it, but I regret it immediately. Like it's not great. It's fine.
Which is funny to me because his Daredevil run I'm reading and it's awesome. It's just for some reason it doesn't translate to Batman for me.
He's doing something. It's like when I dip in, I don't feel like he doesn't get what's going on or doesn't understand the characters. It feels like he's doing something specific. I just don't have a handle on what it is yet because it's consistent. It's not like wild all over the place. It's just he's consistently trying to do something.
Yeah.
And I haven't had a grasp on it yet.
Yeah, I've dipped in and I just can't bring myself to care. What about Joker Year 1? Part 1. Tim?
So, again, not reading Batman currently, and the way DC marketed this book, I assumed this was going to be something you could walk in the front door and just go along for the ride. That is not apparently what's happening.
No.
This book is clearly fundamentally connected to the ongoing story, which I don't have enough of, and I don't feel like there was enough reference to, except knowing that it's supposed to be there. But it's also touching what feels like a couple of generations of Batman story, a couple of writers of Batman story. And I so wanted this to just be a Joker origin, even though that can get annoying because we've had a couple and they're all pretty similar. Tell me a good Joker origin story. I thought up front that the varying art for the different time periods was going to be helpful. And then even with that, I felt confused and distracted. And they're a completely different style, so I should have been just fine. But I feel like somehow that was messed up too.
I think that's the pacing of it because towards the back end of the book, I actually got confused. It's going between like it's like a sequel to Year Zero as well as a sequel to Year One for Mustache Man.
It's also a sequel to The Killing Joke.
And The Killing Joke.
And then a prequel to The Three Jokers.
Was that?
But it's
brought
also
the Three Jokers in. I'm like,
oh yeah, I didn't
like,
understand.
Where
that.
does this
Is
fall?
That's in his head, no?
But yes. So one of my questions was,
I don't know
how many Jokers are inside the Joker? Because at first I thought, you know what, that's not a bad idea. The Jokers, only one is left standing, and mentally speaking, they're now all in the third's head. But now there seems to be no difference between the voices in his head. So is it one Joker in his head or is it two Jokers in his head? And I feel like
did he
that
kill
would
the other
be
one?
right. Is it actually? Are they actually like just? There was too many things that I had to say.
Yeah.
What is the answer? And I felt like this should have been such a great entry point for somebody.
I was confused by halfway through the book. Another I guess it's a flash forward. I didn't track that it is in future as well as I thought it was current and then past.
Right.
But then there's the Andrea Sorrentino stuff, I guess, is in the future because he, in dialogue, the only reason why I knew that is because in dialogue he makes a reference to that change was made when Barbara was commissioner.
Right.
When Barbara was made commissioner, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, we're going super fast.
Well, it was funny because I wasn't, not having been current, I wasn't 100% sure it didn't happen last month or
didn't happen
something.
already?
So, but I figured we're talking cusp. We're as far ahead as we can go with it still being Bruce and Abel and stuff like that.
So this is like Batcat?
Yes, it is Batcat. You're right. So the reference he's making
Like a
is
Joker Batcat?
Tom King did a mini series called Batman Catwoman, which we lovingly call Batcat, and that took place in 3 different time periods and told a story that way. So this is the same sort of format, I think. Far future, and not current day. There's no current day. It's far future, and then Year 1, and then before, or I guess maybe Year 2, right?
Wait, so
Year 1, Year 2, and then
we
far
go.
future?
No, it's like past, far future.
Yeah,
No current day.
right. That's what I'm saying. Yes.
Yeah, which maybe has something. So again, none of us have read are up to date with the current Batman run. Did something happen with the Joker that we're now going back to fill in gaps?
Or
Yeah,
did
I'm not sure.
Chip just decide now is the time to do a Joker?
This is
origin?
coming out weekly, guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is 4 issues of filler for the rest of the run or the next piece of the run. Every time they do this weekly thing or bi-weekly thing, it's to
to inform future stuff. Okay.
And or I need 4 artists because Jorge Jimenez is taking too long, kind of a thing.
Okay,
like,
yeah.
I don't know if, like, as of right now, this wasn't strong enough for it to, like, glom me onto the book, but also I don't know if it's means more, you know? Like,
Well, and it's funny because I felt like DC was banging down the doors of shops to order more. This is super important, and you're going to want extras of these. And I get that a Joker origin story could bring a few extra bodies to the shop, but it doesn't feel like, unless it feeds into something
bigger
next story, I don't feel like it's.
But there's
that.
it doesn't. There's no accessibility for it to do that.
Right.
As of right now.
Right.
Like, it's not accessible enough to, like.
Yeah.
We were apparently supposed to sell it to new people, and I feel like new people would have walked back to us and gone,
Let's go with.
What am I missing?
So I know that there's like 1,000 variant covers, but the main cover, it's just Batman's bigger. Like, shouldn't it be, if this was meant to be like an entry point about the Joker in current continuity, just Joker Year 1 and then like underneath Batman 142, or not Batman 142, or I don't know, like.
And for all the times they put Joker on a title, just make it Joker Year 1. Just make it a separate thing, even if it's by Chip Zdarsky, and even if you say this is connected 87 ways to the ongoing monthly series, just make it Joker Year 1.
Yeah, that doesn't bother me.
You'd miss
just
some
making
people.
it the next issue doesn't really. I
Okay.
don't think I need a mini series out of it. But I think I liked it more than you guys did because I have some of those connective tissue between all of those different things.
Oh, I
wasn't
understand.
as confused as.
So this is where I make an admission. I really didn't read any of New 52.
Oh.
So I have none of that to draw on. And I'm okay with that.
I just read it
in
all.
my day-to-day.
Yeah.
But I feel like, again, with the accessibility thing, for as much as we bitched about having 60 years of continuity to deal with for the longest time, we create New 52, eliminate that, and all people have to know is that Batman exists for that to be accessible. And now we're dealing with, 11 years later or 12 years later or whatever it is, we're still drawing on those stories so intimately.
Well,
don't know.
beforehand too, though. So like, New 52 didn't. I mean, it's not even continuity anymore until it is continuity. But that's like the other stories that are referenced here. They're not continuity until they're continuity, right?
Yeah.
Like The Killing Joke is technically not in continuity,
That's
but
true.
so many use it as a touch point. Year 0 is 52, so it's not continuity, but so many use it, so it is continuity, or like it's blended continuity with rebirth, whatever the hell that means.
Yeah.
But
Everything matters,
yeah, everything matters until it doesn't.
it doesn't.
Yeah.
but then it might again.
Yeah.
I understood what was going on in the story, other than like the not sure that I didn't catch that there was far future, but I still didn't. Yeah, it didn't really do anything for me.
Okay. Can we give props to Batman's old costume with the bendy ears?
That and the padding everywhere, which
Yeah.
first of all, I love that
Yeah.
padding. That's
Yeah.
not what it looked like in Year 0
No.
at all. Yeah, but it's cool.
Yeah.
Who's the wait? This is.
Giuseppe Camicola.
He crushed this book. Joker is awesome in this
Yes.
book. I want an entire miniseries of 6 months later bearded Joker in a room, just going through things in his head. That's the miniseries I wanted out of this, not the 4 different
the
time
splash
periods.
page,
Yeah,
the title page is so good.
that's one of the variant covers, and I'm like, that should have been.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna read 143 when that drops for sure. I'm at least in enough to be like, oh, I'll check back in on this.
I think this is fresh enough, but it didn't really. It's not bringing me back to the book.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right, Noel,
Yeah.
what do you got?
I want to talk about a book we didn't agree on.
Okay, great.
Because I do that every week, as Tim pointed out. Like, I just overread and deal with it. This is called The One Hand by Ram V, Lawrence Campbell, Lee Lothridge, Adita Bidikar, and Tom Muller. I think that's like colorist, inker, and cover designer. But anyway, this is a book that kind of came out of nowhere. I saw the listings for it.
From whom?
Image.
Thank you.
I saw the listings for it. Peculiarly saw the listings for it and not sure what the hell it meant.
Yes.
It's Rom V, and then another series at the same time was announced for it called The Six Fingers by Dan Waters. I really like Dan Waters. I've read a bunch of his stuff. Rom V, I have a more or less relationship with as a writer. Sometimes I enjoy it. Sometimes I glaze over. He's an incredible writer that just doesn't click with me.
Yeah, sometimes his prose is a little flowery.
I also have trouble a lot of times with his third acts, as in like I am in, and then the ending just
Sputters.
doesn't do anything for me. But I decided to give this a shot. This is a weird ass book that I kind of love. It is far future. If I can find the year, it's like 28 something. A detective who's about to retire decides to belay his retirement because there is a seemingly copycat killer of the most famous murderer that he caught, and he refuses to retire until he catches it. What makes this a little weirder is that there was already a copycat killer like 20 years ago of the original killer 20 years before that, which he caught both of. So it's like 3 of the same killer with the same exact MO and the same exact MO. Yeah. Modus operandi.
There you go.
There it is. This was cool. The main character, Nassar, Detective Nassar, is grizzled and cool, but also obviously very troubled and a little broken. And the cliffhanger at the end makes it very clear how the other book kind of ties in, and that fascinates the shit out of me.
I think it's a cool idea.
Yeah.
So what is the other book? Because I can't remember if you mentioned it.
The Six Fingers.
Thank you.
The Six Fingers. So if you are interested in the one hand, tell your retailer, but you probably want to also order the Six Fingers.
Yeah.
The only thing that connects them is the fact that they were, or like at least visually connects them, is the fact that they were announced at the same time, and the cover design is similar by Tom Muller.
Yeah.
This is a cool blind get. I don't want to talk about why they're connected because that's a spoiler, but it's cool.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
I like when stuff surprises you like that. That's fun.
And that's why I blindly pick up issue 1s just to see, you know. But yeah, I'd give this a go.
How fresh?
Fresh, pretty fresh.
Okay, cool.
Not super fresh, but like pretty fresh. It's a solid crime noir in the future, but it's like it's a tactile future, not unlike Blade Runner.
Yeah.
Where it's just wet, annoying. Technology is there, but it's not like utopian.
Everything.
Yeah. It's very cool. Like he goes to a brothel, and it's normal, but then all of a sudden they glitch.
Oh.
Like stuff like that. Yeah. It's very cool.
Cool. All right, let's move on to Thundercats number 1 from Dynamite.
Thunder. Thundercats. You're not familiar with Thundercats?
Oh yeah, I just
The
didn't know we
cartoon?
were doing the whole thing.
I mean,
Declan Shalvey and Drew Moss brought it to us from Dynamite. Okay, my experience of Thundercats is I have watched the cartoon, the original cartoon, and I had a little plastic sort of omens?
Yeah.
Sort of omens.
Kind of jealous.
And well,
Yeah,
I was so it was the dagger portion of it, right?
Yeah.
So like the one he just carries around in a glove somehow.
Yeah.
But it never like whipped out. Like I wish it would like flap and
You
become
did-
the big sword. You
did
know?
they make a big sword?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. I just had the little baby dagger.
That was more recent. That was for us nostalgia hounds.
But I would constantly walk around and hold it up to my eyes like he does in the show. But that sort of petered out, and I haven't had any real Thundercats experience since then. So this is kind of me dipping back into that world for the first time. And it seems a little different. Tim,
Yes.
Did you grow up on the Thundercats?
So I was technically the wrong age, but I still enjoyed shows like that very much. I did not see all of the episodes. I have not seen all the episodes, and I didn't see what I saw in any kind of order. So like I don't have that kind of depth of knowledge, but I very much enjoyed this show. It was, you know, they were fallible heroes like a lot of the Marvel universe. Lion-O is a kid in an adult's body.
Oh, so that's not
That is
new
that is a
continuity.
thing.
That's okay.
I
Cool.
thought that was new.
He really
Yeah,
did
that's cool.
have some weird aging thing, and he grew up and everyone else around him stayed exactly the same.
That's a good idea. I didn't
And
know that was real.
It's even though it can be annoying because he's sort of like Anakin where he's just a kid that doesn't get anything.
Petulant.
It adds an element of drama, even though the cartoon was so light on really big things until there was action. So Mum Ra is really scary as a villain because he's he's a mummy or whatever, and he uses mystical powers. But it's all about the big explosions and the guitar rock soundtrack, and it makes it something else. So it's not a scary show; it's a fun show. Yeah. And at some point, I want to say in the last 10 years, but I can't say that for sure, there was an updated cartoon done, and I'm not even sure what network it ran on, but this was one of those, J.M. DeMatteis, who has written a ton of comic books, wrote a couple episodes of that series, and I had my brief Twitter fame moment where I replied to him and said, "Man, your episodes were really good. It was cool to see your name." And he replied back to me and said, "Thanks, I had a bunch of fun." And I melted because that's just the coolest thing in the world. Yeah. But it was different enough from the original storyline-wise that it was a different thing. It was not redoing, it was different, but same characters, same build. This, I sort of feel like fits into that same situation where there are a handful of tweaks that are going to make this different enough, even though you've got the foundation of those characters, that situation. I think this is going to be different enough, not just the way Tiger wears his facial hair, which is different.
Which reboot of the show? Was this the anime reboot?
This is the animated reboot, yeah.
Because there was also like
last year,
chibi version.
Yeah.
Oh, it was
and
much
Wildstorm had
longer than that. It
a
was a couple years
series
ago, I
or
think.
two, maybe
Pre-pandemic.
15 years ago, I'll say. Jim Lee Studios, while at DC, had done a series or two. It gets play every so often, but I feel like the push this time is bigger. Again, we sort of look at Dynamite, maybe not as big, but I think Dynamite's taken some big steps lately with properties.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is one to pay attention to because my nostalgia people were telling me about it before I knew about it. So
Thundercats Roar is what I thought
That's
it was.
what it was.
It's 2020. Yeah, it was a couple. It was like on the cusp of pandemic.
Gotcha.
Yeah. My relationship with Thundercats is nothing beyond the toys. I think when it came out, I was 3-4. So I was very, very familiar with Thundercats. I was very, very don't sass on me like that.
Adorable.
I was very, very familiar with He-Man, but the actual like plots of the shows, I don't fucking know anything.
No, I don't remember.
Also, you know what I remember? I remember my brother picking the sword from He-Man, so I had to get Skeletor's scepter because we couldn't have the same fucking toy, and getting a piece of it lodged up my nose. So like
you do.
Yeah, and that's not a plot of the show.
Remember, you could like put the two swords together.
Mm-hmm.
That was cool. I'm
so
amazed by that.
So these Dynamite is taking big swings, and I've been enjoying some of their stuff. But these like relaunches of nostalgic properties, I usually come at them with I've got no fucking baggage. Make me a reader, right. So like, I did not know that was the growing like a kid in a man's body.
I
That was awesome.
I didn't want to say it because I thought it was a spoiler for this issue.
No.
I was just like, oh, what a cool, neat idea to throw into this reboot of Thundercats, not knowing that was part of the original cartoon.
Because I was looking at it like, is it going to be the same and just modern, different storytelling styles, or is it going to change things? And I'm looking for
bit of both.
Big fundamental things, ultimate
style
kind of style. But it was subtle stuff, and again, we don't know how much is going to be changed. But I think it's different enough to make it interesting. I'm not great on Will Moss's art for this. And this is, so reminder, I don't write, I don't draw, I don't edit, I don't publish.
I'm but a man.
That's where I'm coming from. But I feel like the line is very light.
Yeah.
And the connection I sort of wanted was a more animated style. Maybe not that heavy because we don't want it to be mimicking. We don't want it to be monkeying. But I feel like there's a lot of things that just... It doesn't feel.
This feels
strong
like I'm not going to disagree with you, but if you look across the board with a lot of Dynamite's new relaunches in regards to like IP, this is like the house style now almost.
I think you're
where
right.
it is a light line, bright colors.
Yeah.
more aligned with modern animation than if that's correct for the the story.
You might be right. Me not having been consuming a lot of modern animation, maybe this is closer.
Yeah, it's just it's simple lines, bright colors. Yeah. It's not like it's got an anime influence, but it's not. It doesn't look like anime.
Right.
As for me, this is kind of what I expected from a Dynamite reboot of a cartoon from 40 years ago.
A plus.
I've been enjoying Transformers, Duke, Cobra Commander, and I knew this wouldn't be quite up to that standard of, my personal standard of what those books are. But I thought really the only thing I took away from this was like the cool change that wasn't a change at all.
No.
Sorry.
It was like, that was fine. I would say it's fresh enough if you care about the Thundercats.
They didn't ruin the Thundercats, right?
No, not at all.
Yeah, so we're good.
But it doesn't make me want to buy issue 2.
I have this. Declan Shalvey is an amazing. I think he's an amazing artist. But his writing is not always is not really there yet for me. Like he's written a couple of things. He had his creator-owned series.
Old guy or...
Old Dog.
Old Dog.
And I have the same problems with it. His pacing sometimes is off. So like the action in this is great. The setup is like really clean and efficient. But then the last 3 pages is, I guess, some sort of reveal. And in the context of the story, I don't even understand what's going on.
Exactly.
So,
I never heard of that dude until...
Well, not even heard of that dude. It's...
issue.
Wait, what? Mm-hmm. What?
Huh?
Like what you're asking this person, I don't understand what that is.
Hold on a second. Shut up. Stop talking. Look at the cover gallery.
Yeah, so Dynamite does this.
You never looked at
for
the Dynamite
every single issue. Issue
I
1.
Skipped Dynamite in the previews.
Wow.
I honestly.
What is they've gotten? They were in controversy a couple years ago. They're okay now. There's in all of the trade paperbacks because I've been reading Christopher Priest's Vampirella, and I love it. But all the trades are about 30 pages thicker than the story because they just put cover galleries. So like I'll be reading it and feel like I'm halfway through and be like, I think, and I'll look and be like, okay, the story ends here. There's that much book left, and it's just cover galleries. So like they know that half of their profit margin is variant covers and cover galleries. So like when
121 covers this book had, this one issue.
And some of them are incentive covers, but...
Yeah, when people bitch about, like, the big 2, like, fudging numbers because of, like, over-ordering for incentive covers, no. It's Dynamite that's the problem.
Now the thing is...
Holy shit.
And this is not a knock. Dynamite being as small as they are...
That's how they make it.
Which is still not a shot. Clearly this works.
Yeah.
Or they wouldn't be able to sustain it. Because
No.
it's been going on for a long time. And there are absolutely customers, I don't have any of those, but there are absolutely customers that want as many of those covers as they can get. Mm-hmm. And that's a relationship they've created. And honestly, high five for making it work and keeping it going.
Yeah, Nick Barucci figured something out.
So, yeah.
But yeah, they do metal covers. They do foil for almost everything. Like, not every issue is going to have 100 variants. Issue 1s absolutely are, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any anniversary, they are.
Rob Liefeld, Greg Horn. Wow.
They're able to pay these people, these like very high rate people for covers, man. Honestly, too, like, not to sound like a shit, that's sometimes why the books aren't that great. Because they invest so much on publishing and cover artists that the book itself is like a C+.
Yeah.
But this, I wouldn't. I think that this was stronger than that. Declan Shalvey's a good. Also, Declan Shalvey had been working with Dynamite for a while and then left during all of that Comicsgate stuff.
Did he?
And he's back now.
Attaboy.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Like he left a book midstream. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you remember Dynamite with the
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
He started all that and created all that and wrote the first issue and then left because of all of the CG stuff. And then Fred Van Lente, who just loves paychecks, was like, "I'm in," and then did
that dude
did
can
the
write
rest of it.
anything.
Yeah.
Basically,
Fred Van Lente is like a shadow of all writers.
Yeah.
Like he could literally like slot into anything. A very journeyman writer. Yeah. What do you got in front of you, buddy?
I got Star Wars Mace Windu, a mission before the rise of the Separatists and the Clone Wars.
Wow, that was a lot.
Is that the official title?
Yeah. Star Wars, Mace Windu, a mission before the rise of the Separatists and the Clone Wars.
Where does the colon go? So it's like Star Wars : Mace Windu.
I think it's Star : Wars, Mace : Win.
No, there's an M dash in there instead. So it's probably Star : Wars Mace, Windu. Period.
Smiley face. Mark Bernardin. Mark Bernardin is the writer, and Georges Janti, that I know from Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
I like
comics.
Georges.
Yeah. Is the penciler, and Dexter Vines is an inker. Oh, nice. I like Dexter. So I have never cared about Mace Windu. I think that
How dare you?
Samuel L. Jackson is fantastic. I've never cared about Mace. Like anything that happened in the prequels, he just showed up and he goes, "You think it's this boy?" And like you just, I felt like
it's a 3-movie cameo.
Yeah,
basically.
he just wasn't interesting. Like I was excited. I was like, "Holy shit, this dude's gonna be a Jedi! What kind of? Oh, you think it's this boy?
Did you think it was gonna be like Pulp Fiction in the Star Wars?
Yeah. Get these motherfucking Siths off my motherfucking plane. Yeah.
Plane.
Skiff.
There you go.
Off my motherfucking skiff. So, but I was like, you know what? I have gone back since, and I've read a couple of prequel era novels, and of course the Clone Wars cartoon and all that sort of stuff has given me more of an appreciation of the prequels, which, honestly, when they came out, made me give up on Star Wars.
They were thin.
I just went, okay, Star Wars isn't for me anymore. I guess I'm done with Star Wars.
That is the nicest way to. They were thin. It was 3 movies of trade negotiations. They were thin.
They were thin.
Yeah, they were. Yeah. They were. It was reading the Wikipedia page of what happened in Star Wars before this.
I don't hate them, and I absolutely did not have a bad reaction to Mace. So, but they were thin.
Yeah.
There are Star Wars tales that is just, here's a Jedi, he gets sent on a mission, here's how that mission goes, the end.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing big or crazy happens. And this is that story.
Are you telling me that there is story possibility within the Star Wars universe that doesn't have to do with 1, maybe 2 bloodlines?
Wow.
I don't know if I'm saying that.
That's crazy. Stop it.
I don't understand. I don't understand. Everything starts and stops with Skywalker.
On your door soon.
Yeah.
And I still don't care about Mace yet. Like he's fine. He's a totally competent Jedi. He gets the job done.
That was a journey.
But it's fine. I think that this book is fresh enough if you're a big Star Wars fan and you like reading the Star Wars comics. Sure, you could jump in on this. But I'm not entirely sure it's a necessary read. It's not must-see TV.
So this obviously takes place... Does this take place during the prequels trilogy, or is it before all that?
It's a mission before the rise of the Separatists and the Clone Wars.
So it's during episode 1 or before episode 1?
This is before episode 1.
Yeah.
Cool.
He is not actually on the council yet.
Oh, dope. Okay, I like young Mace Windu as an idea. That's kind of cool.
I wouldn't say he's young.
Younger Mace Windu.
It's 5 minutes before his council time.
The end of this series, he's going to walk in the room and they're going to be like, surprise!
This is the elevator ride of him going up to be on the council.
Hi, join us. We're going to talk about the Separatists.
Yeah.
Who are they?
What?
Yeah, I just, you know what it is? I bring my own expectations of Samuel L. Jackson as a badass dude to my Star Wars, and I'm like, I want him to do badass Samuel L. Jackson, clap-worthy, like, oh shit, that's dope kind of stuff. And he just does Jedi stuff. He's a regular Jedi. So this is fresh enough. I would say. Yeah.
He doesn't believe in you either, so it's fine.
Oh.
Yeah, Sam Jackson, he was telling me last night.
Over whiskey.
Yeah. When they're in bed. That he really wishes that you would bring it more.
Yeah.
Like not just this walking around as a retailer shit.
Are we done? Did we do it?
I think we did it.
We did it!
Be sure to join us tonight for the live show, or, watch it after it's live, because you may not listen to this today, but who cares? We're going to be talking about Argyle.
Yeah, the new film from Matthew Vaughn.
CultPop Podcast. Find it on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts at a later date. Every Wednesday night. Tim, where can the people find you?
Comic Zen, Main Street in Lansdale, Pennsylvania.
Woohoo!
Nice.
JD?
Oh, here at my comic book store, Johnny Destructo's Hero Complex.
Are we in a comic book store?
We are. You can tell because of all the... This isn't just my bedroom. I mean, it's also my bedroom.
This is kind of like my bedroom. Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for hanging out with us, and we'll talk at you later.
Bye.
Been listening all my life. So what's up then? So what hustle?
Thank you for listening to the CultPop Network, home to podcasts, live shows, and a whole lot of fun stuff for every flavor of fan. Follow us wherever you find your favorite podcasts, and be sure to join us live every Wednesday night at youtube.com/CultPopGo at 8 p.m. Eastern. While you're there, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you'll know when we drop new Thunder Rounds and episodes of Fresh Floppies, a spoiler-free show about single-issue comics released each week. Until then, we'll talk at you later.